When I was 16, I got selected for a special school program called Young Leaders. The name sounded impressive, but in reality, it was just 4 students stuck in a quiet room every afternoon, working on projects no one truly understood. 3 of us were completely normal, but the 4th, no one wanted to sit anywhere near him. His name was Ian. On the first day, he didn't seem scary, just strange. He always sat in the corner with his hoodie pulled all the way up and kept tapping on his notebook. It wasn't a normal beat. It sounded like tap, 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 pause, tap. Like a heartbeat trying to follow a song that didn't exist. He never talked to anyone, not even to the teachers. But none of that was what started bothering me. What bothered me was the way he kept staring at me. At first, I thought I was overreacting. But every time I looked up, Ian was already looking right at me, completely still, not blinking. It wasn't an angry look or a sad one. It was empty, like he was staring through me or at something right behind me. I told my friend Mia about it, and she laughed, saying he probably had a crush on me. I really wished that was all it was. One afternoon, I stayed late to finish a poster. The hallway was almost empty, just the janitor far in the back and the lights buzzing. When I stepped out of the classroom, I ran straight into Ian. He was standing in the doorway, not moving, not breathing deeply, just standing there. He tilted his head slowly like a broken puppet and whispered,
"They always leave you behind."
His voice didn't sound like someone talking. It sounded like someone repeating a line they memorized without knowing what it meant. I walked away fast, trying to act like I wasn't terrified. On my way home, I kept feeling like something was following me. Not footsteps, but that strange, heavy feeling you get when someone is watching you even though you're alone. The next day, Ian didn't show up. The teacher said he had been moved to another class, which made no sense in the middle of a semester. Everyone went back to work. I felt relieved, at least until that night. 2 a.m, my phone buzzed. Unknown number, 1 message, no text, just a picture. When I opened it, I almost dropped my phone. It was a photo of my house, taken from across the street. The timestamp said it had been taken 2 minutes earlier. I ran to the window. The street was empty, completely quiet. But as I started closing the curtain, I saw something move. A tall shadow slipped behind a tree. I knew immediately it was Ian. I showed my parents, but they just turned on the porch lights and said I probably scared myself. They thought about calling the police, but there wasn't anyone in the photo. Just my house. Life went back to normal. Or at least it seemed like it did. 2 weeks later, I stayed for an extra cheerleading practice. The gym was almost empty, with only the mirror lights still on. I was writing down some notes when I heard someone say my name.
Jessica.
Not loud, not urgent, like a reminder. I looked around. The other girls were packing their bags, none of them near me. Then I heard it again, right behind me.
They always leave you behind.
Ian's voice. Exactly the same tone. My heart started racing. I looked at the exit door and something felt off. The light above it flickered 3 times, and I suddenly remembered that besides Ian, there were 3 of us in the Young Leaders group. I didn't sleep that night. A few days later, my mom got a call from the school office asking if we had seen Ian anywhere. He hadn't been moved to another class at all. He had left school the same day he spoke to me and never went home again. All of this happened 2 years ago. I don't know where he is. I don't know why he chose me. But sometimes my phone still buzzes. Unknown number, no text, just a location pin. And the same message, photo unavailable. And every time I look out the window afterward, I swear I see a shadow step back into the trees.
I've always been the kind of kid who gets to school early. I like sitting in the back, near the window, where I can see the whole courtyard. That week, a new boy started sitting next to me. He said his name was Elias. Quiet, polite, a little shy. We talked about games, tests, cafeteria food. Sometimes he even shared his snack with me. It felt like the start of a normal friendship, but something started bothering me. Every time the teacher took attendance, Elias stayed silent, staring straight ahead. His name never showed up on the list, and no one ever asked about him. Not the teacher, not the other students. It was like he wasn't even there. In my head, it made sense. Maybe he was too new and they hadn't added his name yet. Or maybe he used a different name and the teacher didn't update it. Nothing strange about that. At least that's what I tried to believe. On Thursday, when I walked into class, the seat next to mine was empty. Elias wasn't there, but something was really off. The desk was covered in deep scratches, like someone had spent the entire night dragging their nails across it nonstop. The surface was chipped, with little splinters sticking out as if Something had been ripped away by force. I looked around, waiting for someone to comment, but everyone acted normal, like nothing was out of place, like they couldn't even see the mangled desk. During break, I looked for Elias in the courtyard. Nothing, but I swear I heard someone whisper my name really softly in the empty hallway. When I turned around, the only thing there was a locker half open, rocking by itself. My chest tightened. Something was wrong, very wrong. I decided to face it and asked the teacher if Elias was absent. He just frowned and asked who I was talking about. I explained he was the new kid who sat beside me, but the teacher looked at me like I'd lost my mind. He said that seat had been empty for weeks and no one sat there. When I was getting ready to go home, I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, steady footsteps, almost deliberate, like they wanted me to notice. When I turned around, I saw Elias standing at the end of the hallway, pale, completely still, watching me like he'd been there all along. "Dude, finally, I've been looking everywhere for you," I said, relieved. He didn't answer. He started walking toward me in this strange, unnatural way. One step, another. His face was blank, unsettling, almost not human. I asked if he was okay. No response. He just kept coming. So I ran. I went down the stairs without looking back, hearing his footsteps speed up behind me. I burst into the courtyard, almost tripping, trying to put as much distance as possible between us while everyone else kept chatting and going home like nothing was happening. The gate was already open. I sprinted across the courtyard, the cold air hitting my face like I was breathing for the first time. I only stopped when I reached the corner. I didn't know if he was still following me. Every shadow made me turn around, expecting that empty expression. I got home, shaking, locking every window. All night long, I heard noises outside, soft footsteps, like someone walking back and forth in front of the gate. I survived, but I wasn't safe. The next day, the principal called me in. She said the school had checked the cameras to investigate the boy I described. She turned the monitor toward me. In the classroom footage, I was laughing, talking, and sharing my snack with an empty seat. In the hallway, where I swore Elias was staring at me, I stood alone, talking to no one. And in the clip of me running down the stairs, I kept looking over my shoulder, but there was no one behind me. After the meeting, I went back to class and sat down. That's when I noticed the desk beside mine was perfectly clean, no scratches at all. I stood there frozen, wondering if those marks had really been there or if someone had replaced the desk overnight. That's when I saw a piece of paper on the floor. I bent down to throw it away. There was something written on it. The message, in shaky red letters, said only, "I'm still here."
I was never the kind of person who paid much attention to others. In fact, at my school, I was always the student who just wanted to survive the day and go home as fast as possible. But there was one thing I could never ignore. Lara. Lara was different, not because of the way she talked or because she was popular. What truly stood out were her eyes, blue, a shade so vivid it almost looked like they glowed on their own. Whenever she walked down the hallway, people stopped just to look. It was almost hypnotic. And then there was Denise, always quiet, always walking in her friend's shadow. The two were inseparable, but while Lara seemed to brighten every room, Denise was almost invisible. I swear, sometimes I even forgot she was in our class. Everything stayed like that until one Friday. It seemed like a normal day, aside from the fact that we had a test, which was already terrifying enough. But when class started, someone was missing. Lara hadn't shown up. Everyone assumed she had overslept or maybe gotten sick. Yet, as the hours passed, something strange began to fill the air. Those whispers, you know? The kind of silence that isn't really silence, because people are murmuring in every corner. The next day, the news hit like a bomb. Lara had disappeared. No warning, no explanation, no messages, no clues. She was simply gone. And that's when the part no one can explain began. Denise came to school different, not in the way she walked or spoke, but when she looked at me, my stomach twisted. Her eyes were no longer brown like they had always been. They were blue. Blue exactly like Lara's. And I know what you must be thinking. Contact lenses, right? That's what everyone thought, even me. But they weren't lenses. When the sunlight from the window hit her face, those eyes glowed the same way Lara's did. The same reflection, the same color, the same cold shiver down my spine. I shouldn't have stared for so long, but something felt wrong. It was like she was pulling me in, like those eyes held something alive inside them, something that shouldn't be there. Then I noticed something else. Denise was smiling, a small smile, but completely unlike her, as if she knew a secret. as if she were happy about something no one else could understand. Since that day, no one has seen Lara again. And every morning, when I walk through the hallway and pass by Denise, I get the feeling her eyes shine a little brighter, as if they're adjusting to their new body. And every time she stares at me, I can't shake the feeling that she's choosing someone to be next. And I can only think one thing. If I ever miss a day of school and someone shows up with my eyes, don't let them get close.